Hey guys, Edison T. Crux here, and today I want to tell you a story about a younger me, a childhood me, a teenage me. It's kind of a coming of age story, if it were. And when I was in my childhood, my early to mid-teens, I was very overweight. I always felt like I was as wide as I was tall. I was very overweight. And although I was still very social, I interacted with people plenty. I had my circle of friends and I did stuff. And, I wasn't, shy and reserved by any means. But my weight always held me back from being what I wanted to be. I never liked being that way. I never really liked the way I looked, and certainly not the way I felt. I didn't like being winded walking across the parking lot. I didn't like feeling like I couldn't, and that was unfortunately what a lot of my childhood was, and I know that affected me, and I know that held me back from a lot of opportunities that would have been really enjoyable. So that was really not fun. This might seem like a depressing start to a story, but bear with me, it gets better. That was pretty much how my younger life was. But then things changed when I was 17. And that was, first of all, when I was 17 years old, I weighed 255 pounds by that point. Just for perspective. But that was also, more importantly, when I was 17 was the year that I met a guy named Shane. Shane was, physically, if you looked at the two of us, we couldn't have been much more of opposites. He was totally fit and healthy, he ate good stuff, he had a ripped body, he looked like a model. The guy, he was kind of your ideal physical shape that you'd want for your body, athletic, the whole works. And that was cool, whatever. I've known people like that. It was no big deal. He was a nice guy, we were friends. But then I found out that a few years back, he weighed more than I did. Wow. That blew my mind, because you could never tell looking at this guy. You could never tell that he was once even more overweight than I was at that point. So when I found that out, when I heard his story, I wanted to know what he did. First of all, it inspired me. It made me think, wow, if he can do it, maybe I can too. Maybe whatever works for him will work for me. So I went to him and I started talking to him, and I asked him questions. I went to him with my questions about nutrition, because that wasn't really something I knew much about. That was part of the reason why I was overweight, is I didn't know much about how to eat really healthy. I asked him about exercise. Again, something I didn't really know what that meant. I didn't know what kind of exercise to do. I didn't even know where to begin. And I went to him with my questions, and he answered them enthusiastically, was happy to help, lend any support he could. Now, I'm going to tell you something that Shane never did. It was one thing that Shane never once did to me. Actually, two things I'll tell you. He never made me feel bad for where I was at that point. I never felt bad with the way I weighed, or the habits I had, the kinds of food I ate, or the amount or lack thereof exercise that I was doing. He never made me feel bad or diminished for where I was right now. And he also, another thing he never did, is he never pushed. He never went to me and said, you really got to be doing these exercises. You really got to be eating healthy, it's killing you, Do you know what that's doing to your body? Do you know that sugar addiction is ruining your brain and it's going to make you, have a heart attack? And he never did that. All Shane did was he was an inspiration to me with his story. He was an example that I could live by. And when I went to him with questions, he was happy to give me answers. Now, I thrived with that. With his influence, when I was around Shane, over the course of the next year, I lost over 60 pounds. And for the first time in my entire life, I felt good. about the way I looked. I felt good about the way I felt. Felt good about how I felt. But I felt better. I felt capable. I felt strong. I felt like I could do it. I felt good. And that was something completely new to me. I'd never felt that before in my life. And it was because of the guidance that he was able to provide for me. Unfortunately for me, not so much for Shane, he moved on to different things in his life. He moved away, got a different job, the whole works. Point is, I stopped really getting a chance to see him or be around him. We didn't really get a chance to keep in touch much after that point. And I tried to still stay being healthy and still keep up those good habits even when he wasn't around. But over the course of the years since then, I've had a lot of stuff going on in my life. I've been, trying to build businesses. I've been writing books. I've gotten married, started a family, had kids. Well, okay, my wife had the kids. I just kind of contributed here and there. But still, it was a lot of work. And I bought a house, now a homeowner. I'm living this life. And also along the way of living life and of pursuing the things you think you want, I didn't have the time, didn't have the motivation, and didn't have the influence people around me. And my good habits, those habits that helped me lose all that weight, kept creeping back. And gradually, over the course of quite a few years, I gained back almost all the weight that I had lost. And it wasn't for lack of trying. That's the interesting thing, is I actually enjoyed exercising. I enjoyed it. It wasn't like it was a real chore. And I like healthy food. That wasn't a problem either. And I tried to stick with things. I tried to do different kinds of diet type stuff. I tried to really stick with exercise routines and really make it part of my life again. But none of the people around me were really into that. I love all of the people surrounding me, and they're great people, and they love me. I'm surrounded by people who really do care about me, which is wonderful. But the unfortunate part about that is they will love me whether I succeed or fail. And if I struggle to stick with a dietary plan or with an exercise plan, they say, it's okay, it doesn't matter, we love you either way, that doesn't define you. And that is great. You need that in your life. But it wasn't helping me actually stick with it. I needed someone who would still support me, would believe in me, but would push me to do my best, to bring out my best, and bring out the best in me. Now, thankfully, in recent time, I have found that again. And I am now finally back on track to being proud of my physical capabilities. I am proud of who I am, the way I look, and the way I feel. I'm proud of that again. For the first time in years since then. And now I want to share that. I came to an epiphany and a realization, and that's, for me, the biggest missing link was not the knowledge of what workouts to do. It was not the knowledge of nutrition or any of that. And it was not even the enjoyment. It wasn't that I didn't enjoy it. None of those things were the problem. What was missing for me, my missing link, was I was not surrounded by the right people. I didn't have a Shane anymore. There wasn't someone who inspired me and really helped me move forward. I didn't have that in my life anymore. I had a lot of other great things going on for me, and in those areas I excelled, but as far as health and fitness, I didn't have that. So now that I've been able to make this change for myself, I have come to a new commitment as well, and that's that I want to help other people who are struggling with that same thing, right? If this is my missing link, having someone who believes in you and will not judge you and will give you guidance and advice without judgment or without making you feel bad for where you are, if that was the missing link for me, not having that, it has got to be the missing link for other people too. I am not the only one who has struggled with that. I am sure of it. And I am sure that I'm not the only person who is surrounded by well-meaning people who just don't push you to do your best in this area. So I've decided that I want to be your Shane. I want to be what he was for me, that inspiration and that guide who believed in you without judgment and without pushing, and someone who can bring out the best in you, who can help you really stick with and achieve your health and fitness goals. That's something that's important to me because I know what it's like to not have that. I know what it's like to feel slowed down by your weight and by your health. And I also know what it feels like on the other side when you get past that. And I know that there's a lot of work in between. And I know that without someone there who will support you, who will coach you, and answer your questions, without that, it is so difficult to stick with it long enough to get there. If you have that, then you have more than doubled your chance of success. And I want to give that to you. So please, I encourage you beyond words. If you have been struggling with this, please do not put yourself through it anymore. You can improve. You can change your body to whatever you want it to be. You're in complete control of that. This is your body. This is your life. This is the only body in life you get. Take care of it. I guarantee you, your quality of life will go way up. Your self-esteem will go way up. Your confidence will go up. And the things you'll do in your life will improve. You'll be bolder. You'll be happier doing more things because you won't feel ashamed of the way you look, and you won't feel slowed down by your physical limitations. So if you have been struggling with that, and if you want to find out and really discuss a way that you can make that improvement in your life too, please contact me. Don't wait anymore, right? Down in the description of this video, I will have a link to where you can find all my contact information. And I encourage you, absolutely, get in touch with me. Just ask your questions. That's it. I'll ask questions back too, so that I can better help you. But that's all there is. It's not obligation. You might even have no idea what's going on. That's okay. Don't worry about that. That's not what I'm here for. Just if you struggle and if you want to make a change and you don't know how, might not even know where to begin, this is where you begin. Contact me. Start the dialogue. I will be your Shane. I will guide you without judgment. I will answer your questions. And I will see if there's anything that I can do to help you move you forward. So please, get in touch with me. I am looking so forward to talking with you and to helping you bring out the best in yourself.